Hello everybody, it's me, Sports Talk Guy, and we're starting with this top 5 series, starting with NHL goaltenders. This is where it's starting. I don't know where it's going to end. I'm going to record all the videos, I'm going to determine how I'm going to upload them. I'm going to try to bounce back and forth between all three of the sports that I'm doing, but the least is NHL because there's only 3 of them. With baseball, there's more. I think it's 10 or 11, maybe even 12, and football is close to that. So NHL will end quickly. But football and baseball go on for a while because I'm going to keep trying to alternate, and we'll see how it goes. Maybe it won't end quickly depending how I want to upload it. I'm going to upload it in the order I made these. I mean, not upload it. I'm going to record in the order I made these, and then I'm going to upload. But without further ado, I bring you my top 5 players in the National Hockey League. Wow, made that mistake. Top 5 goalies in the National Hockey League. So, without further ado, number 5. Number 5 for me is Semyon Varlamov. He is the goalie for the Colorado Rockies, and he has currently, at the end of the NHL regular season, the most wins out of any goalie in the league. And he will end with the most wins, barring if Marc-Andre Fleury wins these last 2. As of this being uploaded, it'll already be over. I don't think Fleury can catch him really because just how it's going to end up. I like him a lot. He definitely bursted onto the scene. He posted a great save percentage and a very good, very obviously wins. It helps when your coach is arguably the best goalie in NHL history, in Patrick Roy, and that's just where it comes from. He's very quick. He makes smart. He's had a lot of big saves. I guess that's his key. He's flashy. I like that in the goalie. There's some goalies on this list that definitely aren't flashy. They just get the job done, get right to the point, make the saves, do what you got to do to make sure that puck does not go in the net. And I like Varlamov. I hope he has a great career. There was controversy with him though at the beginning of the season that he beat a lady. Those reports ended up coming out as false. So I could respect him because some bitch lied. So I can't wait to watch him next year. I hope he does good in the playoffs. That is a very young Colorado team that could potentially, before this, we'll know by this recording, but as a potentially could take the number 1 seed of the West, which would be incredible. Arguably the top 5 and youngest team, and they could just become the best team in the league in terms of most points. That would be great. And that was Semyon Varlamov. Anyways, on to number 4. Number 4 for me was definitely, it was kind of tough with these next 3. My number 1, I could be obvious. These next 3 were tough to pick how I wanted to order them, but this is how I'm going to order them. Number 4, Ryan Miller. Ryan Miller halfway through not even halfway, about a week, actually exactly a week before the trade deadline, Ryan Miller got traded to the St. Louis Blues from the Buffalo Sabres. Ryan Miller has been a great goalie his whole career. He's also been the guy for the USA along with someone else who we'll be talking about later. Ryan Miller is definitely one of these guys he's not the flashy kind. As I was talking about with Varlamov, he's a flashy guy. Ryan Miller's the kind of guy that just keeps the puck in the net and he makes all the right saves and he's a quick thinker. That's what I like. You have to be very quick where you're thinking. You have to have good vision. Ryan Miller's definitely a guy with good vision. He stops everything. He's with Buffalo. He started off kind of rocky, and he's been rocky even last year. Last year he was actually kind of bad, but even with Buffalo, he's taken him to a few playoffs a couple 4 or 5 years ago. He's definitely carried Buffalo. Now they got rid of him. They traded him to the Blues for prospects, and now he's succeeded with the Blues. He started off hot. He's cooled down a little bit, came a bit back down to earth, but he definitely has helped make the Blues a favorite in the West to go on to win the Stanley Cup. So I think he belongs at 4. Only saying he belongs at 4 is because how he kind of started with Buffalo, and as a team they were bad, and it's a team sport, so that's why I have him down there. And definitely been succeeding a lot with St. Louis, so he's sticking at 4. Anyways, on to number 3, and you already know by the thumbnail, but 3. Number 3 for me is the one, the only Tuukka Rask. Tuukka Rask, well, let me talk about him first in a kind of a first-person way. I went to the Flyers-Bruins game on March 30th. A very good game. The Flyers lost in a shootout 4-3, sadly. But Tuukka Rask made some great saves. The Flyers outshot the Bruins 52-30. You're giving up 3 goals on 52 shots. That is very, very impressive. The defense was bad in that game for Boston. The Flyers were doing whatever they wanted to them, and they definitely scored some nice goals. But we're here to talk about how good Rask is. Rask, since Tim Thomas is leaving, has been phenomenal. He took the Bruins last year to a runner-up in the Stanley Cup final. Sadly, they couldn't win it all. If you watch my gaming channel, you would know in a way I was rooting for them, especially after the attacks that happened last year. I said that the Red Sox or the Bruins win their respective sports championships. The Red Sox did. Then the Bruins came this close. The Bruins are definitely the favorite of the East, and probably the favorite to win the Cup, mostly because Tuukka Rask. I mean, they can score. They have a great defense. They have Chara. They have everything. I mean, they're the perfect team. They really are. They're set up so nicely. A lot of teams wish they could be them. They also have a great head coach with Claude Julien. And just, again, back to Tuukka Rask. He's again, not one of those guys who makes the flashiest of saves, but of course he's going to get the job done. He makes great saves. He just slams the door shut all the time. When the Flyers were playing the Bruins a week later, it would have been a week ago probably by this recording, he was just on fire. I mean, nothing was getting past him. The Flyers got a lot of shots again, but this time he was on point. It was ridiculous. This guy makes saves like crazy. So that's nothing better to say about Tuukka Rask. And if you haven't watched Tuukka Rask, I recommend it. Anyways, on to number 2. Number 2 on my list shouldn't come as a surprise. These two are definitely battling. Though this guy was battling with the number 1 guy, who I'll talk about later. Henrik Lundqvist. He is number 2 for me. As a Flyers fan, I hate to admit it, but he is absolutely outstanding goalie. He's the only player on the Rangers I thoroughly like. I enjoy watching him. My dad's a Rangers fan. He does have a Lundqvist jersey. Henrik Lundqvist is probably the least flashiest goalie you could ever look at. That's what my dad always said. You just look at Lundqvist. He's not flashy at all. He just gets the job done, and that's where all this comes from. And the next guy was definitely pretty flashy. But you don't have to be flashy to be a great goalie. Lundqvist, over the past about 10 years, I'd say, has probably been the best goalie. But we're talking about now, and that's why I'm making this list. Lundqvist, he'll always keep the Rangers alive. He had a bit of a sluggish start, but the whole team did. It wasn't just him. The Rangers, I think, started off maybe 4-10, almost as bad as the Flyers, who started off about 1-7. So, yeah. So, definitely, Lundqvist, he did start off bad. I remember talking about it to my dad. And in my mind, I was like, oh no, is Lundqvist declining? Is age catching up to him? Is this the downfall of King Henrik Lundqvist? Well, it certainly wasn't, because this second half and these last couple weeks, Lundqvist has turned it on. And the start of the season, I think his save percentage was about a 916, that's .916, and that's how they do it in hockey. And I think now it's at a 921, 922, which is great. I mean, 916 isn't bad. That's about average. 922 is impressive, very impressive. That's well above average, if you don't know that already. Lundqvist, he controls the game. He also has a good defense in front of him. He has guys like Ryan McDonough in front of him, and he has the team. The Rangers are built as a defensive team when they had John Tortorella. If you don't know, the Canucks and the Rangers swapped coaches basically. They both released him, both signed him. The Rangers head coach is now Alain Vigneault, who's an offensive-minded head coach. I think in any sport, teams do more successful if the team is built as a defensive team and you bring in an offensive-minded head coach, the team will succeed. If the team is an offensive-rounded team and you bring in a defensive-minded head coach, the team will succeed. You have to go opposites. Opposites attract. That's how it works with the Rangers, and that's how it worked with Lundqvist. Even though Tortorella was a good coach of the Rangers, defense, it's just Lundqvist. Even though I think Lundqvist had something to do with the firing of John Tortorella. But that's irrelevant now, because Tortorella's got to be playing golf pretty soon with the Canucks, and Lundqvist will be in the playoffs, most likely playing the Flyers in the first round. So, and on to number 1, or this way, number 1. My number 1 goalie is Jonathan Quick. Quick is outstanding. He's the if you don't know, he's also the #1 guy for the Olympics for the Team USA. Ryan Miller's his #2, which is great for Team USA that they have great goaltending always. But Jonathan Quick just does it all. If you go back to, what was it, 2 years ago they won, or 3? It was 2 or 3 years ago. I think 3 calendar years now. The Kings were the 8th seed heading into the playoffs. They got hot down the stretch, and that's where Jonathan Quick, if you didn't already know, I mean, he was good that season, and even the season before that, but that's where Jonathan Quick made a name for himself. That 2011 season and playoffs. He was on fire down the stretch. He got the team squeaking right into the playoffs, and they went on to win the Cup, being the first 8th seed to ever win the Cup. No thanks, or all thanks, I guess, to Jonathan Quick. He's absolutely flashy. He'll make the greatest saves in the world. He makes ridiculous saves. He can do it all. He has great vision. He thinks quick, hence quick. Just, there's nothing you can't say bad about him. He's a Vezina winner. And with that Cup run back in 2011, the one they barely snuck in as being the first A seed to win it all, they beat the 1, 2, 3 seeds to go on to win it. That is crazy. Not only were you the lowest seed to ever win, you beat the top 3 seeds to get there, each taking them down 1 by 1. They swept the Canucks. Then I think they won in 5 against the Sharks, and then they swept the Coyotes. Then they went on to play the Devils in the Stanley Cup, and they beat them in 6. They did not go to 7 once. They kept themselves rested. Quick, I'm pretty sure won the Conn Smythe. If I could be wrong, but there's no reason in my mind why he would not have won the Conn Smythe that year. If you don't know what the Conn Smythe is, it's the playoff MVP. But that'll do it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll be back with another top 10 tomorrow. I hope you guys enjoyed the first goalie one. Kind of a test run almost. First time trying it. But hey, we'll see where this goes. I don't plan on stopping it under any circumstances. So, I'll see you guys in the next top 10.